Setting out into the puddles, Yorgos would lead the way, beginning to take you deeper into the Puddles district, winding his way around the outer edge of it before making his way back into. You would make your way steadily through the city streets. Again, the water at this point is close to about knee level and is generally uncomfortable, although at this point you're probably watching the surrounding shadows for any sign of these undead Taldane soldiers risen back from the grave to enact vengeance upon the city.
It's unfortunate.
Fortunately, the only thing you see are the occasional staggering drugs.
Yay.
That would be until the two of you would notice a flashing light.
Uh-oh.
Ah,
What looks to be maybe a red lantern from a distant rooftop or building, further away and up on a hill above the fog in the distance.
I don't think we'll have to go to the information broker.
What does that red lantern mean again?
How many flashes? You believe it was a half dozen.
Half dozen.
6.
Signaling the black edge one. 6 flashes of red. The granary. That's the signal to poison the granary.
Well, I guess we're going to the granary.
Where's the granary?
Yorgos?
That way. Setting off towards the granary, though, you would wind your way through the city streets quickly, beginning to approach towards the building in question. The granary here is set upon a hill, which I suppose is rather good, considering it's a food storehouse, and therefore is actually above the swampy morass of the rest of the puddles, allowing you to ascend up towards the rather large, almost fortress-looking building. A wagon would sit out front, in front of a large set of double doors, which leads into the structure proper. You're going to guess the wagon probably used for transporting the grain, well, to and from the granary here. Even as you begin to approach, you notice that 2 torches burn out front. One of them still in its sconce, the other one on the ground, a couple feet ahead of it. Bathed in the light of these 2 torches are what appear to be 3 still forms that would lay splayed out on the ground, with a steadily expanding pool of brackish red around them.
Weapons out, everyone.
The door beyond them would be cracked
Flex my
partially
fingers.
open.
It's party time.
I strap on my shield.
Making your way forward and approaching the door, all 3 of the figures are dead. Judging by their appearance, all of these appear to be guards. You're going to guess Absalom's city guards simply stationed here that attempted to stop whatever came. Surprisingly, no one else raised an alert, despite the fact that there are nearby buildings. Whatever took these men took them quickly. What appears to be a bloody, almost skeletal handprint lays on the door where something pushed it open and then made its way inside. Strangely, the fog, which has been somewhat thick in the surrounding area, is especially thick here, seemingly rolling out of the granary itself.
Maybe this is where all the fog's coming from.
I hate to mention I'm not particularly skilled in violence.
Oh, you stay out here.
Good idea.
Just yell if you see anything.
Of course.
And try not to get killed.
I will endeavor. Making your way inside. The chamber just beyond is mostly empty. Glancing around, there seems to be some sacks set here and there across the surrounding walls, some assorted tools which you're going to guess are primarily used for the raking and collection of grain. A large set of double doors stands off towards your left-hand side, which you're going to guess leads deeper into the silo. A second set of double doors leads off towards your right-hand side. These stand open, pushed open wide enough for someone to make their way through. Anyone that wishes to make a perception roll.
Okay, I got a 20.
19 for Eva, and an 8 for Sario.
13.
Very well.
16.
Very well. So a majority of you would note there is still blood in this room. It seems to cover points here and there, almost like drag marks across the floor. Although what exactly, you're not entirely positive.
I say we follow the blood.
I'm gonna guess it goes through the open.
It seems to be heading for the open door.
Yeah. We're gonna go through the open door, and I'm gonna use myself to signify as moving this away.
Pushing the door open would reveal a rather large room beyond. The ceiling in here stretches up to a fair height overhead, covered with what appear to be numerous, you're going to say maybe valves? Some sort of flow hatches? Possibly for the grain above, so they could be dropped down into waiting sacks or barrels below. Each of these dot the ceiling overhead. The floor here, though, is covered in a fair amount of grain, which stretches up to close to about calf height, and you imagine it would be rather difficult to wade your way through. You would have a second to take all of this in before your eyes would focus on the far end of the room, where your light would play across what appear to be a trio of figures. Each one of these are bedecked in what look to be dark cloaks, which are wrapped around their forms, but despite this seem to be skeletally thin. They would turn, gleaming eyes glowing from underneath their hoods. One of them seemingly in the process of opening up what looks to be a, waterlogged crate of some form. Judging by what he's pulling out, they seem to be maybe some sort of ceramic vials. You're going to guess the poison in question as far as poisoning the granary is concerned.
Poison lose its efficiency after 800 years.
Maybe it becomes more potent.
Maybe those are
it's
sealed.
magical necromantic.
Yeah, maybe
poison.
they're sealed jars too.
That's true. But the other two would have their bloody, rusted sickles as they would begin to stride their way forward in silent intensity. I will need initiative from the party. Bryn, you have first initiative.
I'll move here.
Very well. So you would double move, rushing forward, getting your battle cry. Eva.
I'll move 30 feet, so I'm like right at the corner above the stairs. Yeah. And then I'm gonna cast Acid Splash on the one that is not in front of Bryn.
Very well. Aiming off to the side. -4 penalty for firing into melee combat. No.
I rolled 1.
Okay. You would fire wide, splashing across the far wall, and you're gonna hope not tainting the grain somehow.
It disappears after 1 round. It
That
says
is
that
true.
in the spell description.
You just destroyed a small amount of grain.
Shh.
That would bring us to the Black Echelon operatives.
Oh, that's fun. Yay.
The one directly in front of you will lash out.
Lady's gonna get stabbed.
It happens.
We've been fighting long enough. I'm used to it.
11 will probably not hit you.
I used to rage and moan about it, but then I got.
The other one would cock its head, looking at you, glancing up above
I
before
know.
leaping high.
It's gonna do a thing.
Grabbing onto the release for the nozzle overhead, which would trigger down into a spray of grain. You'll need to make a reflex save.
I made poor life choices.
I can get the other pieces. 18.
18. You would dive out of the way. You may move yourself 5 feet. The other one will take 2 move actions to collect 2 vials. It will begin to wade into the grain. Eliza.
Okay. It's just
You can move.
Huh?
You can move.
Sario's got a 40-foot movement speed. He can take the attacks of opportunity and get back there to the one that's about to poison the grain.
Then I'm gonna move up 20 feet,
Very well.
and then I'm going to channel.
Very well. You will
Should be able to
catch.
get those two, right?
Yes.
30 feet to there.
Because I can't get him.
Yeah. So you'll catch those 2.
Only 2 points.
What is the save DC for your channel? 14. Very well. They will both fail. Flecks of them burning away as they would still stand in utter silence. Disturbingly, you would note probably by this point, once you've reached them, you didn't even hear that go off. Or anything else.
It's very quiet over here.
You would have noticed that her battle song seems to have stopped entirely once she'd reached close enough to them. From that, we go to your Eidolon. 40 feet is there.
I guess I'll have him stop there next turn.
Do you wish for him to ready?
Yes, he will ready to bite anything that comes, any enemy that comes within range.
So don't say anything. I'm coming.
Leaf.
I'm gonna trudge through the grain, I guess, because I don't really have anywhere else I can go. So 10, 20, and then into the grain, which I'm gonna make a strength check to try to not have to deal with. I'm gonna fail with 6.
Very well. It is difficult terrain.
Which means it's, what, 5 feet in and then 10 feet out?
So you moved to that point,
So 10, 20 feet to here, and
and then 25 feet, and it'd be 35 feet to move to there.
So 35 feet, and then I'm just going to dump it all the way in there.
Very well. So 40 feet as you go charging forward,
Yep.
kicking through the grain, sending it flying every which way.
Grain.
Bryn.
I'm gonna power attack one hit.
Very well.
18.
18, you would heft your blade, slamming it down on the skeletal figure.
13. 13 damage.
13, slicing viciously through it as you would cut it in two. It would topple, hitting the ground.
It's not a kill. It's already dead.
It's a kill.
It's undead.
Regardless, you can't hear one another or actually.
That's right. It's silence. Yeah. Never mind. I'm going to save my witticisms for afterwards.
Totally counts, by the way.
Later.
From Bryn, we go to Eva.
You can move.
Yeah. Does that put me in the zone of whatever silence effect they're giving off?
No.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna cast Acid Splash.
Very well.
I get a 16 to hit its range touch AC.
16 will hit your target's touch AC.
I do 3 points of acid damage.
Splashing acid across its back as you begin to eat through its moldy old ropes, burning into the, you're going to guess, bones below.
I did something.
You did indeed. From there, we go to the Black Echelon. The one directly ahead will step to the side. Face off against Bryn. Sound would return for you. So, lashing out viciously. You did. You just killed his brother. So he'll attempt to enact revenge with a 14.
No.
Glancing off your shield as you tuck behind it. The other one would seem to silently call upon some sort of inner power as fog would billow out from its black cloak, spreading in a wave around it. This effectively has surrounded it out to a range of 30 feet. This is not as thick as a full-on fog cloud, and therefore is only a 20% mischance period. That 20% mischance is negated if you're adjacent to your opponent.
Okay.
Yeah.
But any ranged attacks is still 20% mischance.
Stop it!
It would go wading forward, deeper into the grain.
I'm working on it.
Eliza.
I'm gonna double.
Very well. Go running forward to there. Charging past that one, it will take the attack of opportunity as you move past. Lashing out at the Oracle with a 3. Don't believe that will hit.
No.
Bring us to the Eidolon.
So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 has to do a strength check, right?
Yes.
He gets a 4, so I'm assuming he
Very well.
He can
So that just makes it difficult terrain, which makes that 35 feet.
Okay,
Yeah, so you're still
so, and he can bite.
Very well.
Because he has a 40 speed.
Then you go charging forward, biting.
17.
A 17 will strike his target.
For 6 points of damage.
Crunching bone and tearing through the cloak. Leaf.
Yay! Yep. That would be 10 feet of movement to that.
Yeah.
Not that it really matters. I shall power attack.
Step forward, hefting your great axe.
Oh, that rolled like crazy. 10.
10. Swinging down, but sadly missing. Probably thrown off by the fact that you can't hear even your own shouts and battle cries.
Rhythm's off. I need my song to get my cadence going.
Bryn,
I'm gonna power attack the one in front of me. I get a perfect 20.
a perfect 20 will automatically hit. Threat, roll to confirm.
17?
A 17 will confirm your critical
Oh
hit.
my gosh.
I know, that's 8, that's a 7, 15, plus 12, 25.
25 will cause the skeleton to explode into mist and dust under the impact. Well, once it's dead,
you make
can
Leaf
hear.
cry manly tears. No.
Poor Leaf hasn't gotten to kill anything.
You actually still have a move action remaining.
Oh, okay. I'll move here and then I'll make a strength check to see if I can move another foot. If not. 14.
14. You continue to press forward.
Oh, cool. That's the end of my movement.
I thought you. Oh yeah, you only.
I have 20 feet. Yeah.
That's right.
Bring us to Eva.
Oh boy. I'm gonna move up beside Leaf, and then I'm gonna ready an action to attack an enemy if one appears within reach. But yeah, I think everybody's got this.
But you would ready. I imagine Bryn happy to begin her battle cry again, as then it would suddenly silence. I imagine you still stare towards the one behind you, the rest of your compatriots letting out shouts as one would rise up from the grain.
What?
Standing up as the grain
You
would
literally just
slop
stepped
off.
over it. How did you not see it?
It was buried. Not like it made any sound when you crunched it.
I guess that's true.
A second one will rise out of the grain as well.
More opportunities for you to kill something.
Yay!
Sadly, you're completely unaware of the one behind you as it would stand up to its feet.
And we can't yell.
You actually, sorry, do get a perception.
Oh, okay.
You are deaf.
Well, I don't. So I get a 16 normally, so it's minus 4. Minus 2.
It is a minus 4.
So 12.
12. Sadly not noticed. It would stand up, heft, and swing. That is an 18 against your flat foot.
Yeah, that would it.
Chopping
I
into
hope
your
they're
back.
not rogues. I really hope they're not rogues.
They're probably rogues.
Just rogues.
It is a tattered old rusty sickle.
Well, there's no
Check for
sneak attack
tetanus
dice
later.
in there, so that's good.
The other one will swing down, striking at the Puddles with a 17.
Oh, exactly.
Striking the Eidolon also for 1 point of damage. Being lightly scratched to death. That would bring us to the final Black Echelon. He will crack open one of the containers, beginning to pour out the poisons. That will...
We're gonna need a swear jar at the table, like Luke Cage style.
that will provoke an attack of opportunity from
Where's our
your
swear jar?
Eidolon.
We use the swear jar money to buy snacks.
Oh, yeah.
It's a good plan, actually.
18.
18 will strike his foe.
7 damage.
Okay, well, he would slay the creature as it would topple back, only poisoning some of the grain as it falls.
Nice.
Eliza.
I will channel.
Very well.
Is there both? I'm gonna take the flashlight step.
Very well.
That way he can
Step
get
out of the
up
way.
in there. 2 points.
What was the safety C again?
14.
14. Both fell that. Eidolon. Sorry, El.
Eidolon. It's probably literally written on there, Eidolon.
I'll attack that one. With a 19.
A 19 will strike his target.
For 8 points of damage.
Crunch
Spike.
viciously into it.
First claw with 18 to hit.
18 will hit.
For 8 points of damage.
He would finish it with his claws, slicing through it. Leaf.
Into the flank.
One of them stands.
I will get a kill before this adventure is done.
You would charge dramatically forward.
I will not power attack because I want to hit it. 11.
An 11 will not strike your target.
It's Eric all over again.
Bren.
I'm gonna power attack.
You're welcome for the flank bonus.
Oh, I don't even need it. 24!
24 will strike your target.
Hey, only 8.
Kimmy's like,
8
stop
points of
laughing.
damage.
I'm trying to sleep.
Slicing viciously into your foe.
It still stands.
Eva.
It still stands.
Can I get beside the other side of Leaf?
You'd have to move through these squares.
You would pass this guy. He would.
Yeah, you provoke an attack opportunity to choose to do so.
Okay, I'm
Is it
gonna
still
ready.
clouded or whatever?
Yes, they're still fog.
I'm gonna ready to attack if any enemy gets within 5 feet of me again.
Very well. Continue to ready. Bring us to the back black echelon. Just move action. He will step to the side there. Pull himself out of the flank. He will swing. You know what? He hit Brand before, so he'll swing at her again.
He was in difficult terrain, so can he take a first?
No, he used the move action to move 5 feet.
Oh, okay. Alright.
He doesn't get more than one attack, so he might as well.
Ah, that's fair.
15, I don't believe will hit Brenda.
No.
Eliza.
Do you guys want me to use my last channel?
Nah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not for one.
Then I will ready, and if any other pop up, I will bonk it with my quarterstaff.
Very well. You're
That's
ready in
what I have
action,
out.
hefting your quarterstaff, bringing us around to Saria.
Yes. He'll get in between.
Okay.
One more.
I know. Okay.
There we go.
Get out of there.
And bite. 16
A 16 will strike your target.
for 8 points of damage.
Would slay your foe.
And she just looks at him and goes,
2 for me, 2 for the dog.
It doesn't count if they're actually already dead.
They're undead. They're not
"Didn't
dead.
I kill one too?
You can look.
Did I kill one? I don't remember.
No, you didn't channel any of
No,
them.
I wore it down and then
Yeah,
you
you
killed
killed
it.
it. Mhm.
I helped.
Official
What'd you
ruling.
do?
Official ruling.
They
Do
count.
undead things count?
Yes, they
Yes,
count.
undead things count.
So you got 6 or 5?
Well, I gotta make a tally.
Can
Your
we?
Eidolon would make his way around, whispering prayers over the dead.
I'm at 5.
He's a good boy. Can we tell which of the grain has been poisoned? I mean, like, is it like discolored
It
or
is
something?
discolored.
All right, we need to start shoveling that out
Put it in the
into
box
like
with
a
the poison
corner.
and
Oh
then-
yeah, there's the box with the poison. Let's just clear out the poison section of grain.
Maybe we also move the dead bodies out of the food supply.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like that plan. That's a good plan.
Yeah. I'm going to leave that to y'all.
Okay. Hey, you can be useful.
Poor Lee.
I hope.
He saved 4 dudes earlier.
You did save
Save
some
more,
dudes.
yeah.
You just didn't kill any.
Good use for all my rage. Actually, not all my rage, but almost all my rage.
But yeah, make sure we get all the poison grain separated out.
Very well. But you would gather the grain, make your way out, probably startling Yargos.
So we need to go find Essie now.
Yes.
Yes. Very soon before he uses it again. This was only the first step in the plan.
So why does he want to use it?
I couldn't even begin to tell you. I don't know a great deal pertaining towards the man.
Well, let's go find him.
Weird.
Only that he's a low-level player on the crime scene.
He might just be a puppet.
More walking, less talking.
Oh, I assume we're walking and talking. Gotta have something to do while we move. We can't just have it.
But Yargos would lead the way into the sewer maze of the Puddles district, the waterlogged labyrinth of an assorted dangerously flooded tunnels that make up
boy.
the siphons. You wouldn't fortunately have to go too far, nor would it take an overly undue
Grandmaster
amount
Torch.
of time before you'd eventually make your way to what appears to be no different than the rest of the tunnels you've seen, except for 2 half-orc bodyguards, which would stand guard out in front of a door. They would nod towards Yargo at its approach. He would speak to them very briefly pertaining towards, you're all Pathfinders. He's here to, talk to Grandmaster Torch, matter of utmost importance, etc., etc.
Stuff and things.
They would begin leading your way, informing all of you, of course, in, no uncertain terms, to keep your weapons sheathed and hands away from them while you are down here.
I can't sheath my weapon.
Right, it's like, I'm always armed. Yeah. Also, oddly, half our party has weapons.
But you'd be led into what appears to be a simple room Stone walls, floors, 4 pillars supporting the room overhead. In the center of the room is what appears to be maybe some sort of, you'd honestly consider it to be spa or bathing font, judging by its design. You're going to guess that this is probably less of a sewer section and more of one of the assorted buildings that were simply built atop as time had passed in Absalom's 4,000-year history. Bodyguards would stand about the room, and in the center of the room, the pool would currently be heated up to what appears to be a rather, comfortable heat. A scarred man would lounge in said pool. To be fair, you did interrupt him in the middle of the night. The man in question, you're going to guess, is probably in the upper side of 30. It's difficult to tell whether or not he was at once a handsome man, as the entirety of his body is covered in vicious, scarred flesh from what appears to be some sort of horrible acid or fire burns which cover the entirety of his form, leaving only lanky black hair which drapes down from points on his scarred scalp. 2 servants would be in the process of applying oils, which you're going to guess are the only thing that gives him any sort of relief, as he would glance over towards all of you from where he lounges in the pool.
Good evening.
Good evening. I apologize. I wasn't expecting visitors at this late of an hour. I'm Grandmaster Torch.
We
You do? Yargo speaks highly of me, I hope.
Well, he did tell us that you had a book that we kind of need back.
Or would know its location, at least.
I know a
right,
great
he
many
was
of
the one that
things.
location. Never mind.
Well then. Whom or what exactly is it that you're looking for?
We are looking for a man named Nessian.
Ah, the upstart. Yes.
We need to find him so we can stop something really bad from happening.
He has an ancient code book and he seems to be misusing the information he found within.
He's carved out a recent new base of operations, if you will. You understand, of course, that crossing any of the crime lords, especially ones as, let us simply say, dedicated as the Warhounders, is not particularly good for business for me. I assume that you'll be willing to make it worth my effort, and the danger that it brings to my associates and myself. 6,000 pieces of gold.
That's funny. Not yet.
That's one, ridiculous that you would even think that we would have that kind of money.
I know that the Pathfinders oftentimes do pay some of their associates very well.
Considering that we had no plans to come here at all, it was supposed to be a quick pick this person up, bring them back, and be done with it. We didn't exactly come prepared with the amount of money that would keep me set for about 10 lifetimes.
Yes, the venture captains are very much on a need-to-know basis. Very well. What if we make an arrangement?
What kind of arrangement?
I have a task. Something that will take you very little time. In the meantime, I can dig through my archives and reports and determine the exact location that this Nessian gentleman is in.
And what kind of task?
You find it rather simple. I've recently come into the possession of a series of, let's simply say, safes. Chests. Unfortunately, the safecracker I employed has turned out to be less than able. I know from past experience that the Pathfinders are exceptionally skilled at finding their way into chests that other people would rather that they not. If you can coax even, let's simply say, 3 of the 5 that I have open, I could be persuaded to disclose Nessian's location and dispense with my regular fee entirely. Understanding, of course, that the contents of the chests belong to me still. These chests are remarkably unique I have a foreboding suspicion that in this case, the receptacles are probably worth more than the contents.
I was gonna say, caveat, if anything inside of it is a danger to the city, I cannot promise that you can keep it.
I would probably dispose of it better than your superiors. That notwithstanding, my point is I do not wish the chests damage, as they themselves are probably worth more than their contents. So, please don't simply smash them open.
What?
Can you open them?
Maybe?
Oh, well, they're nothing so simple as, well, conventional locks. They appear to be more puzzle boxes than really anything else. There looks to be at least one or two intellectuals amongst your number. Everyone check your intelligence score.
I've got a 14.
That's you.
12.
10.
I'm the pretty one. I'm not the smart one.
I don't
Apparently
know.
the
I got a
smart one,
17 charisma. I'm pretty.
Oh, that's right. We're both charisma casters, aren't we?
Yeah.
Because I've got an 18. So
I'll have my men escort you.
we have pretty and we have brawn.
Brains and brawn. Or beauty and brawn.
Yes.
There's no brains in this operation.
We're somewhat brainy.
I assume these arrangements are acceptable.
Yes.
Good. He would nod towards his men, who would make their way over, escorting you out of the room. You're directed from the Erdo side room, which seems to contain, as stated before, 5 chests, which are set on tables scattered about the room. One of which appears to be an iron cask containing a laughing devil's head for, you're going to guess, the lock. The second one appears to be a red box insert with a trio of golden faces. The first appears stern, the second appears angry, the third fumes with hatred. The third one is what appears to be a stone chest covered in a relief of carved ivy. The fourth one seems to simply be a smooth stone chest with no lock or hinges that you can determine. And the fifth and final one appears to be a strange stylized chest covered with what appear to be holes along the lid. You may start with whichever one you want.
Smart people.
I guess we'll start with the first one. that
Yeah.
you mentioned.
Okay.
Approaching the devil's head chest, it would sit quietly on the table.
Are there any markings on it? Other than the devil's face?
You may make a perception roll to search it.
I got a 7.
18.
With your
18.
18. First off, the chest appears to be somehow opened through turning the devil's head like a combination lock. Except for there are no numbers as a guide.
Is there anything as a guide?
With your perception check, though, you would notice that while there are no numbers as a guide, there is a faint clicking when you move it.
Okay.
Like you can possibly hear the tumblers moving as you twist the head. Do you wish to attempt to disable? Very well. Placing your ear to the side of the chest.
What do I need to do?
Disable device check.
Oh, okay. Can I take 10 on this or no?
You're not currently being threatened, so you can take 10.
17.
17? With a 17, you basically press your ear to this, twist the head one way, twist it back the other way, twist it back fully around until it's upside down before you'd hear an audible click because the chest would pop open.
Seriously, somebody could have figured this out.
One down.
What's in it? Just out of curiosity.
Glancing inside, there appear to be numerous sheets of paper, what look to be an assorted number of treaties, although exactly what you're not quite positive, although they appear to be written, if anyone wishes to make me a linguistics check.
What's it written in?
What languages do you speak?
Common, halfling, and infernal.
That's the same ones I speak, actually.
They all appear to be written in Infernal.
What do they say?
It appears to be some sort of short treatise, actually long treatise, entitled The Inward-Facing Circle. This appears to be written by a man by the name of Conagaris the Rat, a famed cellist devil binder on the art of binding devils.
Next box.
Yeah, move on to the next box. I guess the second one you described.
Moving over to the next
faces?
box. Yes. This red box has a trio again of golden faces. The first appearing to be stern, the second angry, and the third fuming with hatred.
Looks like you.
Can I guess make a perception roll to examine the box?
You may make a perception roll to examine the box.
I get an 8.
I get a 16.
I'm not good at this perception thing. Apparently.
I will also allow both of you to make a sense motive check.
5.
14.
With both of your checks, you would notice nothing pertaining towards this box.
It's a box. What's in the
Oh.
box?
Let me look at the damn box.
There's no...
Hey, I looked at the box really good. 19 to look at the box?
You may also make a sense motive.
Hey. No. 5.
Both of you would note that there is what appears to be no mechanism or latch on this box that you can determine at all. No place for you to pick or anything else around it. As you would stand there glancing curiously over this and trying to take, an inquisitive look at it, you'd notice that at the very least your two compatriots seem to have gotten somewhat frustrated pertaining towards it, since really you guys can't find anything. Strangely, the seal seems to start to become undone. After your second, you'd seen that it seems to be reacting to possibly strong negative emotion, aggravation, anger, or anything along those lines. Although it would require a great deal of aggravation or anger, but it may simply open for someone that is hate-filled or angry enough.
I'm going to throw the box at him.
I think I know where this is going. I'll expend a round of rage.
You'd be hit by the box.
Ow.
I suppose raging and anger. The box would conveniently pop open.
Thank you.
I suppose frothing and being fatigued for the next however long.
1 round.
What's in the box?
The box,
Rage box.
which is fortunately apparently well padded, contains a collection of ancient stone miniatures of a Viking army from the lands of the Norm Kings.
Hey!
Hey! Is it magical?
Is it magic?
Detect magic.
Yeah.
They don't generate any
They're
magical
so
ores.
cute.
How about we open 4 boxes? We take this one home with us.
No.
Alright,
think
next.
that's-
The
it
next
lets
box
me
is
put-
Oh,
the
you
one
are
with the
chaotic,
leaf.
I guess. So.
Well, I mean, we have to shrink it down.
Yes, the next one is the one with the carved relief across the top.
Okay. Perception?
You may make a perception check.
Hey, I got a 20.
I also got a 20.
With 20
Just
for both
picture
of
the
you.
two of you in the background with the little statues, like action figures.
We're trying to decide whether or not we're taking that.
Sure.
So what do we find?
Searching over this, again, it has no locking mechanism that you can determine. Interestingly enough, in common written across the top of it, embroidered basically into the leaf design, is what appears to be a short riddle.
I open at the close.
Put your mouth on it.
Speak friend and enter?
Though different now sounds my name, the spelling still remains the same. What once meant cry of delight now means feathers black as night.
I say we keep one of these Viking figures.
He's not going to know. He didn't know how many were
He
there.
doesn't know what's in there.
Trying to think. Can
Crow.
you say it again?
Though different now sounds my name, the spelling still remains the same. What once meant cry of delight now means feathers black as night.
Crow actually sounds pretty good.
Yeah, but then...
Speaking the word crow, the door or the chest would pop open.
And I helped. Y'all are just reading this out loud and just leaves just like, crow.
I know birds, they're delicious.
I hunted them back when I had 2 eyes.
I was thinking raven, but I was like, that doesn't work.
No,
But
yeah.
crow, yeah.
The chest would pop open, showing what appears to be simply a chest full of an assorted number of incenses.
Alright, well that's 3 boxes. Do we care about the other 2?
My curiosity just kinda
Yeah,
wants
what's the
And
next
then
one?
he gets access to the things inside.
Yeah, do we want to help
Whatever.
him out that more than you should?
I'll let you guys keep one of those without saying anything if you let us open the other 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
We're all neutral here.
Neutral good.
I'm
but-
chaotic neutral.
I'm true neutral.
So am I. I'm true neutral. It's like whatevs.
Making your way over to the next chest.
Which one is this?
This appears to be a stone chest with no visible lock or hinges or anything. It looks to be a stone block.
One of us should be a dwarf.
12.
I got a 14.
You would note that there are no locks or hinges or markings on this.
Okay,
Both
you
of you
two-
may make a will save.
Oh. 12.
16.
With a 12, this appears to be a rather steadily and well-held chest. With a 16, you would basically kind of prod it before simply lifting the top off. There appears
Found
to have
it.
been some sort of permanent illusion on it that simply makes it look like there's no seal or way to open it.
Hey, what's inside of it? Because then we can just put it back. Oh, wait, I'm supposed to be good.
I was like, our moral compass is telling us to steal stuff. We're in real trouble.
Be more chaotic.
There's apparently inside of it 70 pounds of assorted material components for a wealth of various spells. So silver dust, bat guano, what have you. Sulfur.
Wow. Okay. The last box. Maybe he'll give us a bonus since we opened all of them.
Are there any diamonds on the other box?
Making your way to the last one.
We can't
Again,
steal
strange
things.
stylized writing wraps around the whole of this entire rectangular chest. Stranger still are the 10 small pores that run along the box's lid like holes. If you do not have linguistics, you may also make, if you have any ranks in any form of perform check. Any form of perform music check.
No.
Mm-mm.
Oh, I bet you have to press it.
Oh, I was thinking
Like
it
a
was like there's a
recorder.
creature inside of it.
Well, it's like
it's got
it makes
air
me
holes.
think of the Goonies, where they find the piano. Okay, so
Well, that one's staying closed.
Yeah, we can't open that one.
What if we poke it?
Maybe it's an illusion.
So does it make noise if you poke the holes?
No.
You have to
I bet
probably
you have to
blow
blow
through it
air
somewhere.
through it.
Yeah, one of them must be an intake.
There's a hole in the side. You can play it like an ocarina.
All right. Well, we got 4 out of 5. Ain't bad. Good. enough.
We're not musically inclined.
But I suppose we can tell him, hey, you're gonna have to find a bard or
Nah,
something.
no, we're not telling him anything. No.
Yeah.
Why?
You gotta pay for that.
He is evil.
Yeah, he's got to pay for that.
Did any of you detect evil?
Whatever. He tried. He tried to get $6,000 out of me. I ain't telling him crap.
Making your way back, you'd find that the Grandmaster has effectively finished his bath, now simply wrapped in a robe, as he would nod towards all of you as you would enter. I'm informed that you'd managed to open 4 of the 5.
Mm-hmm.
You've exceeded my expectations, so thank you. He will provide you with a scroll tube. The map on this will lead you to a place outside of Absalom. The thugs refer to it as the Pyramid of the Dog. There you should find Nessian. From what I understand, his gang numbered over 10. But I hear reports that some dead bodies were found out near the cliffs, and the guard had managed to wrangle up 3 of his. So I imagine he's down to perhaps a half dozen.
Fancy that.
Curious indeed. But I've also heard that you had exceeded my expectations, and therefore you should be rewarded. My compatriot will provide you with ample compensation on your way out. Thank you, Pathfinders. I hope this is the beginning of a long and fruitful relationship. If you should need me again, you know where to find me now. I wish you nothing but the best of luck.
Have a good night.
Sorry for interrupting your bath.
Good morning.
Oh, it is morning. Okay.
We leave.
Making your way back out, you would each be provided with a bag of 50 gold pieces.
So I'm just gonna write that in as 200. So I'm gonna split up.
Alright, Yorgos. We're gonna go to this temple now. Pyramid. Dog place.
Pyramid of the Dog.
Very well.
I don't think you need to go.
Of course.
We still need to take him back to the lodge.
Well, you can walk.
If you can retrieve this book, you can have it. I'm done with cursed whatever.
Well, we'll still take you to the lodge. Just in case.
Or if
We'd
you
rather
want
you not
to
get
go
thrown
back
off a
there
cliff
and
again.
meet us there when we're done.
No, we do not know whether or not Nessian men are timed down here has signaled any more of the Black Echelon. While you are dealing with him, I will go and find the guard. Perhaps I can convince them, at the very least, that there is a threat looming.
Maybe tell them
Tell
the
them about
Pathfinders
what happened at the silo, the granary.
Oh
The
yeah.
body should still be there.
and that the Pathfinders believe it's a serious threat. Maybe that gives some credence.
I will do so. I wish you the best of luck.
Thanks.
I hope to see you again soon.
Stay safe.
Of course. You both may make a stealth roll.
Well, there went that plan.
Why do we even make plans? This happens every time we make a plan.
That's why I told you we just charge them.
I got a 17! And you got an 8!
20, 30 feet to this fool. Teach you to shoot me.
He's like, I'm gonna
Towards
kill
her.
it before my wife does.
I'm going to get a kill. It's gonna happen. No, not power attack.
Need your dice.
I get an 8.
An 8 will sadly not strike your target.
Your
You would
dice.
swing, thunking your axe solidly into the wooden tower next to
You
her.
need to switch out those dice.
I'm committed. Let's fight the email first. The swears coming out.
Sorry. The fight is going poorly, therefore the swears come out. That's the way it works.
Okay.